Thanks for coming back to the channel. I'm so glad you could join me today for a talk that will make us all think deeply about connections and the mind. If this is your first time here, don't forget to click the subscribe button and set off the alarm so you never miss another movie. We're going to talk about something that doesn't get talked about very often today. The hidden suffering narcissists feel when they remember you. This idea goes against the idea that narcissists are emotionless or uncaring, and it shows how complicated their inner world is. Let's get started. Of course, when we think of narcissists, we usually picture cold, self-centered people who can't really feel anything for other people. People think of them as sneaky, cunning, and always in charge. But the truth is that narcissists are also people, with feelings and weaknesses that they do everything they can to hide, even from themselves. One of the deepest and most overlooked parts of being a narcissist is the secret pain they feel when they think about someone from their past, especially someone they had a close relationship with. Maybe you want to know, can narcissists really suffer? The answer is yes. But the pain they are going through is different from the pain most people feel. It's more complicated, and it's often linked to their deepest fears, doubts, and the need to protect the image they've carefully built of themselves. If the narcissist remembers you, and you were important to them, it may make them feel a lot of different feelings that they may not be able to handle. The narcissist's low self-esteem is at the heart of this hidden pain. Most of the time, narcissists feel very inadequate and unsafe, even though they appear confident and even cocky to others. Their pompous behavior is a way for them to protect themselves from these feelings of not being worth anything. When they think about someone they used to care about, it can make them remember times when they felt weak, open, or not quite right. Narcissists can be very upset by these memories because they make them think that the image of greatness they've worked so hard to keep up might fall apart. Narcissists also suffer when they think about you because of the sadness and shame that come with ending a relationship. People who are narcissists find it hard to admit when they're wrong or accept responsibility for the harm they've caused. But deep down, they know what they did, and that knowledge can make them feel bad about things like not treating you better, pushing you away, or losing control of something important to them. Narcissists, on the other hand, often can't deal with these emotions in a healthy way, so they may hide them deep inside, where they can fester and make them feel even more unhappy and dissatisfied overall. That's not the end of the pain. Narcissists also fear being forgotten or not being important. They need to be noticed, admired, and made to feel like they are important in other people's lives. When they remember you, especially after you've moved on or stopped being close to them, it can make you feel very sad and afraid of being forgotten. For a narcissist, the thought that you might be living your life without thinking about them, or that you might be happy without them, can be very painful. This fear of not being important runs through their lives all the time, affecting how they act and feeding their need for control and approval. There's also a kind of suffering that comes from nostalgia, a longing for what once was, even if it wasn't perfect. Narcissists, despite their flaws, are capable of forming attachments, and when they remember you, they might also remember the good times you shared. But this nostalgia is often tinged with bitterness, as it reminds them of what they've lost, or what they can never have again. For a narcissist, who is always striving to be the best, and to have the best, this sense of loss can be particularly painful. They may try to convince themselves that they don't care, that they're better off without you, but deep down, they know that something is missing, and that knowledge hurts. Another layer of suffering comes from the realization that they can't go back and change things. Narcissists often live in a state of denial, refusing to acknowledge the impact of their actions on others. But when they remember you, they may be forced to confront the reality of what happened, the lies, the manipulation, the betrayal. This realization can be incredibly painful, as it shatters the illusion of control that they've built around themselves. The past is something they can't change, no matter how much they might want to, and this powerlessness is a source of great suffering for someone who craves control above all else. One of the most tragic aspects of the narcissist's hidden suffering is that they often don't have the tools to deal with it. Narcissists tend to avoid introspection and self-reflection because these processes require them to confront the very feelings they're trying to escape. Instead, they may turn to unhealthy coping mechanisms, such as substance abuse, compulsive behavior, or further manipulation of others, in an attempt to numb their pain. But these strategies only provide temporary relief, and the underlying suffering remains. So, when a narcissist remembers you, it's not just a fleeting thought or a casual reflection. It's a moment that can stir up a host of complex and painful emotions. Emotions that they may not fully understand or know how to deal with. This suffering is often hidden, buried beneath layers of denial, bravado, and defensive behavior. But it's there, quietly gnawing away at the narcissist's sense of self-worth and happiness. It's important to recognize that this suffering doesn't necessarily mean that the narcissist will change, or that they're capable of forming healthy, empathetic relationships. Narcissism is a deeply ingrained personality disorder, and while some narcissists may have moments of insight, many are unable or unwilling to make the necessary changes to improve their lives and the lives of those around them. However, understanding this hidden suffering can help us to better navigate our own emotions and responses when dealing with a narcissist. It reminds us that despite their behavior, they are still human, with their own struggles and pain. Thank you so much for joining me today for this deep dive into the hidden suffering of narcissists. If you found this video insightful or helpful, please give it a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more content like this. Your support means the world to me, and I can't wait to explore more topics with you in the future. Take care, everyone.